Medicine star Letitia is slamming Dr. Mimi on social media, claiming that people behind the scenes were trying to have her film at Dr. Mimi's office in order to make her look crazy. So in response to what a comment said that Dr. Mimi and Steve were not her friends, she says, "We were never real friends. They were cast and we were asked to invite them onto the show. There were even plans for me to film in her office, which I refused. I heard it through the grapevine that they wanted to have a storyline with me seeing Mimi and painting me to be crazy. Funny how some call themselves, quote, real friends, yet plan an entire season without even consulting you of what the plans are."
Finally, Sweet Tea is expressing her truth, and I can assure you that she isn't holding back. Dr. Mimi is at the center of the smoldering tea after months of backstabbing, rumors, and dubious confessionals. As anyone who has followed Mayor to Medicine knows, Sweet Tea's journey hasn't been particularly easy. She joined a group that had already formed close bonds when she was hired as Dr. Gregory Lunsford's wife, and let's face it, the majority of the women weren't exactly showing her the courtesy. With Quad Web still in the picture, she was subjected to criticism, side-eye, and a lot of drama from the start. Dr. Mimi initially gave the impression of being one of the few individuals on her side. She gave advice, offered encouragement, and gave the impression that she sincerely wanted Sweet Tea to succeed. But now that she has revealed something that alters everything, Sweet Tea is revealing that friendship may not have been as genuine as we initially believed. I promise you that you will be shocked by the extent of this betrayal. Initially, it appeared that Dr. Mimi was the only person who truly stood by Sweet Tea. She was the one who urged her to ignore the commotion and concentrate solely on her marriage. When things became too heated, she appeared to defend herself, offered advice, and listened. Fans began to notice, however, that Dr. Mimi wasn't always as helpful as she appeared to be. Although she portrayed herself as Sweet Tea's ally in the group context, her confessionals revealed a completely different picture. In her individual interviews, Mimi disparaged Sweet Tea, claiming that she wasn't suited for this group and that she was too sensitive to cope with the pressure, even though she had previously told her that she understood how difficult it was to be the outsider. Social media was inundated with reactions criticizing Dr. Mimi for being deceitful, as fans quickly noticed the contradiction. She was criticized on Instagram and Twitter for pretending to be Sweet Tea's friend one minute and then clowning her the next, and things only got worse, as Sweet Tea eventually caught a glimpse of what Mimi had been saying behind her back. Although Sweet Tea had been coping with group conflict for some time, nothing could have prepared her fans for her shocking Instagram confession. You guys, she didn't hold back when she came out with the truth about her alleged friendship with Dry Mimi. "We were asked to invite them to the show after they were cast, so we were never true friends," she said, and I quote her, "Take a moment to comprehend that this one sentence completely changed the course of events. It was no longer just about Dr. Mimi, it was about the entire show." Sweet Tea's relationship with Mimi was created for television and was never real, if what she is saying is accurate. Additionally, this brought up serious concerns regarding Dr. Mimi and her husband, Dr. Steve Sanders. Did they genuinely want to establish a relationship with the group, or were they merely acting to get on the show? Because, let's face it, this isn't the first time that reality TV producers have pushed particular friendships for dramatic effect. If so, how many of these are genuine? When the confession was made, fans were shocked. But if you think that's bad, wait until you hear how Mimi allegedly attempted to set Sweet Tea up for failure. This is where things start to get really messy. In addition to criticizing Mimi for being phony, Sweet Tea also asserted that there was a whole scheme to make her appear insane on the show. Some cast members, including Dr. Mimi, allegedly sought to advance a plot that portrayed her as unstable, according to Sweet Tea. According to reports, there were talks about having Dr. Mimi film scenes resembling therapy so she could assess Sweet Tea's mental health. In essence, the idea was for Sweet Tea to enter, express her feelings, and provide the necessary material to make her appear insane for the cameras. If this turns out to be the case, it's not just dubious, it's planned. Imagine assuming you have a friend you can rely on, only to discover they may have participated in a plot to undermine your reputation on national television. Infuriated fans took to social media to voice their disapproval, criticizing Dr. Mimi for taking sides and raising doubts about whether the entire plot was prearranged from the beginning. Dr. Mimi really had us fooled. She acted like she was helping Sweet Tea, but the whole time she was playing both sides, someone commented. "The way these women move is crazy." To add another, Sweet Tea entered a setup and is now at last realizing it. Although nobody on reality TV is truly your friend, hold on, because this could be the biggest betrayal yet. Sweet Tea noticed that she was growing more alone and that it appeared that the cast members were taking sides, as if the chaos wasn't bad enough. Initially, it appeared that Dr. Mimi supported Sweet Tea and stood up to the other women's criticism. Fans began to notice a change over time, though, as Mimi became more friendly with Quad and the OGs and less vocal in her defense of Sweet Tea. Sweet Tea made it very evident right away that Quad Webb was not there for her. Upon Sweet Tea's arrival as Dr. Gregory Lunsford's new spouse, Quad had to remind everyone that she was the previous tenant. Therefore, it was a clear message when Quad threatened to leave the show if Sweet Tea stayed, and Dr. Mimi, to put it mildly, she began to play it safe. She appeared to join the rest of the group in their skepticism rather than stick with Sweet Tea. She began to wonder if Sweet Tea was the right fit and even turned away when things became too heated. Just a coincidence? Possibly. Many fans, however, believe that Mimi was only defending her own place on the show by siding with the original cast members. This would give her a safer place in the group, especially if it were Quad. Another betrayal was imminent, but this time it concerned the production itself rather than just the cast. Just when Sweet Tea thought things couldn't get any worse. Sweet Tea criticized not just one individual, but the entire operation of the show. She had some seats and implied that producers were deliberately slanting the story against her and you all. First, the editing. She alluded to the fact that some scenes were edited to make her appear bad while portraying others as the victim. Reality stars have previously voiced their displeasure over this, but Sweet Tea wasn't playing. She went one step further, implying that the actors were being encouraged to try to harm her by the production. Now, if that's accurate, it implies that she was never given a fair shot. What truly distinguished Sweet Tea, though, was her refusal to take it lying down. She spoke up, letting everyone know that she saw what was going on and wasn't going to play along, rather than letting the show go on with a fabricated story. The key question now is, what will happen to Sweet Tea after all of this drama? It's difficult to say if she will even want to remain single after everything that she has been through, because let's face it, she entered this expecting a new beginning and a new sisterhood, but she has had to battle for her place at every turn. Quitting, however, may not be so easy. Sweet Tea is not the kind to back down. She has already shown that she is prepared to stand up for herself, and if she departs at this time, it may just validate the opinions of the other women, that she is not welcome. So will she really leave? Yes, it is feasible. Honestly, reality TV can be cruel, and not everyone wants to endure it all the time. However, there's a chance that Sweet Tea will return stronger the following season if she feels that the show is negatively impacting her real life. The question of who will support her if she stays becomes relevant. Although she currently appears to be quite alone, she believes that things can change if some cast members begin to understand her viewpoint or if new people join the group. It's also important to remember that Quad nearly left this season, so if she does leave, the group's power dynamics may change. Sweet Tea might be able to stand alone without Quad's shadow hovering over her thanks to that. What do fans think, though? There are differing views, though. Some viewers believe Sweet Tea was manipulated from the beginning and merits another chance. If nothing else, they are arguing that she ought to return to disprove the haters. Some believe she should run as soon as possible. Many people believe that she isn't a good fit for this show and that continuing to be on it will only make her feel worse. But one thing is certain, this drama is far from over, and Sweet Tea is making sure that her story is told the way she wants it to be. So let's pause for a moment and consider all that has been revealed. After believing that Dr. Mimi was the only true friend she had in the group, Sweet Tea began to consider the possibility that she might have had other friends. In those confessionals, Mimi smiled in her face, but she had a lot to say behind it. There was also the whole purported plot to make Sweet Tea appear insane, and now there are rumors that production may have also been involved in setting her up. This brings us to the actual query. Did Mimi ever truly be Sweet Tea's friend, or was she always playing both sides? I need your input on this one. Everyone, did Sweet Tea get set up right away, or is this just how reality TV works? Post your opinions in the comments section.